Are you concerned about all this corruption being misgendered as conspiracies? Well, don't you worry. Sit back, relax, and join in the conversation as we talk with today's guest. Welcome to another LSB Film Productions podcast with your host, Chris Brooks.
Hello and welcome to the channel. It's me, Chris Brooks, here at LSB Film Productions, and today I'm joined with Lee Ashmore, who is a Thetford resident on the Abbey Farm, or Abbey Estate as it's now referred to, and apparently there's some underhanded events transpiring. It would appear that Flagship and Breckland are working together to not only tail all private car parking and garages from the residents, but also to introduce controlled parking and traffic measures to promote walking and public transport. Now where have we heard that before? 20-minute neighbourhoods, here we come. So let's crack on into it. Welcome to the channel, Lee. Let's hear what's going on.
Yeah, cheers, Chris.
No worries.
Well, it's all a bit strange. This has been rumbling on for 5 years now. Flagship have serially lied to us. They've told us that all of the plans are maybes, could be, we don't know where it's going. And that's because they have had a plan from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that is to submit outline planning. And with outline planning, you don't have to give any detail until later on, but you can't go back and visit the outline. So it's good for them. So over the last year, things have started to heat up. And one of the things that's been posted on the Facebook group, the Abbey Action Group, is a report from Levitt Bernstein, which is, well, noodle doodle. But basically they said that they want to promote walking and another veiled version of the so-called 20-minute neighbourhoods, 15-minute neighbourhoods. It's all much of a much.
It's all the same, isn't it? ULEZ, whatever it is, it's all for the same end goal.
Yeah. So it turned out that they didn't want to tell us anything all the way along. They botched up the consultation. And then a month ago, we had a visit from someone called Sam Chapman-Allen. And this is at a residents meeting. His opening statement was, we know this is going to be not to everyone's liking. And we know pretty much that most of the estate is not going to agree with this. But we need houses. Now, what people on your channel listening might not understand is we have 1,100 houses here. And they want to build an extra 500 in the same area. They want
ridiculous.
It's nuts. They want to take all private parking and all garages, even though that 43% of us own our houses.
Now, how can they legally do that? If you own the property and with that property you've got the deeds which says, right, you own this and you own that, how do they lawfully do that?
They're going to use a CPO and they're going to have Breckland Council do it.
And what does CPO stand for?
Compulsory purchase order.
Right. Okay.
So in order to build this massive number of houses, they need parking for them. And what they're planning to do is build a rat run right through the middle of the estate, which is now Canterbury Way, and have the parking spill into every road. So they're going to take your garage, take your parking, and turn from the front of your house to the road into lotted bays of parking. Much the same as Audi.
Right. Okay. So right. Okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to picture that in my mind.
Yeah. So
I look a bit messy then.
It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare. We've objected. Breckland is Sam Chapman-Allen bloke. He's admitted that they've botched the consultation, and I asked him directly, why don't you stop your support for this? And he said, well, we need houses. So it gets a bit more messy because
I'm more concerned as well as who are going in these houses.
Well, one of the big things they keep touting is we've got such a good community here. Well, when you smash it to pieces and add 50% of whoever else into it, you're not going to have much community left.
No, you're not. Because unfortunately, and it's been proven over and over and over and over again, that people don't really mix.
You know it. Absolutely.
So you're just going to have clusters of groups many of which are completely different cultural backgrounds to us,
Yeah,
where we can see what's happening in London, which,
yeah,
I think it's a dangerous road to go down, personally,
yeah.
both as a councillor and as somebody who reports on this kind of stuff. I think it's I kind of can't help but think they're doing it deliberately because there's a higher up agenda that's just being filtered down, and maybe it's compartmentalized, so the people pushing it don't necessarily know what the end game is, but people who are clued up do. And yeah, I think it's a very dodgy road to go down. So how many people then on your estate are against this, would you say, like in a percentage?
It's been clocked to over 90.
Really?
It was so severe that the first pamphlet they sent out, their propaganda leaflet from Flagship, people reacted so badly to it that the second one they printed, they said doing nothing was not an option. And they said that because everyone said, do nothing, just clean the place up. That's all people wanted. And they already had a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That seemed to
that
be a
was
running thing.
predestined. Yeah. So,
Yeah. And I think the same about the 20-minute neighborhoods as well. I think that there is probably always
yeah,
an
I
agenda
do.
there.
Yeah. They don't want us driving. They just don't. They want us to use public transport. But if you work in somewhere like Bury St Edmunds from Thetford, public transport to there is problematic. Well, get on a train.
It
That's
takes about an
problematic
hour for a
anyway.
start.
Yeah. So people don't drive because they like to. They don't pay car tax and extortionate fuel because they want to. It's because they have to. And that's an unfortunate fact.
Nobody drives for the fun of it anymore because
It's
it's too
not fun.
expensive. We used to go out on loads of day trips and stuff as a family, but you just can't.
Yeah.
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
I've had to go from like a 2 litre diesel to a 1.2 petrol, which, don't get me wrong, it is better, it is more economical and whatnot, but trying to come out on a slip road with no guts is quite scary. When
Yeah.
you keep,
Yeah.
I haven't got the power anymore. But no, they're definitely trying to uh, curtail us, and the issue is, it's fine if it's not fine because it just isn't. But at least people who are able-bodied and young enough, it's not as bad. But if you take disabled people who would struggle to get on and off of public transport, people with lots of kids doing the shopping, it's a nightmare.
Yep.
So, yeah, I would like to say they haven't really thought this through, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. They have thought it through and they're going with it regardless.
Well, referring back to Sam Chapman-Allen, he said that Breckland is going to get some houses as part of this deal. So you've got Flagship and Breckland as the two beneficiaries to something that is a net loss to every single homeowner on the estate. And that is just wrong. But it doesn't stop there, because over the last few council meetings, there's been something called 106, Section 106, which means that a developer has to provide so much for services or infrastructure. I think it's an infrastructure charge. Anyway, Brecklanders says they're going to waive that charge to Flagship. So one councillor, I believe his name is Roger Atwill, I think.
Okay. What a Breckland councillor.
Yeah. He said on one of their YouTube, recorded sessions, he said he finds that quite troubling. And so do I. Now, the same bloke also had something to say about all the green space, which still happens to be owned by Breckland. And it was unfortunately a mishap that they still have the deeds to it. But they are going to give this to Flagship for the nominal fee of £1. None of this makes sense. None of it adds up. We keep saying we don't want it. And it just stinks of some kind of golf course type backhanded deal going on here.
Yeah. I wouldn't be at all surprised. No, I wouldn't be at all surprised. Have the, I mean, do you as residents get together and discuss this? Like, have you got like a, I don't know, not a neighborhood watch because that's for crime, but have you got something similar where you come together and you're saying, right, they want to do this. Have you got a plan of action? Like, for
Well,
example, something like withholding your council tax, a tax which is an illegitimate tax anyway.
well, the thing being is, we've got the Abbey Action Facebook group, and we
Hmm.
have resident meetings. And these resident meetings are, well, to now, they've not been very helpful. I don't think they're going to be very helpful going forward after what happened last night. And I think that the people involved in these meetings have their own lives and agendas too.
Mm,
So
yeah.
what we've got is we're stuck between two main beneficiaries that are running the whole shebang, and there's very little we can do to stop it, it seems.
There also seems a bit of like a conflict of interests going on there,
It, I think so too.
the two beneficiaries. Um, yeah, it's not the greatest of situations to be in, I've got to admit. I mean, am I right in thinking, in fairness, the Labour Party are quite against what's going on as well? I've
Well,
seen like pictures of them holding no to whatever it is that they're saying no to at the Deerham head office.
yeah, they're chairing, if you like, the meetings,
Hmm.
but like any politician, they usually say one thing, mean another, have their own agenda, and usually have a superiority complex a mile wide. And
Mm,
you can see what I'm saying here. It's
yeah.
one of those sort of situations where on the first meeting I said we need to stop this now, and I was shut down and told we'll stop it at planning. And we find out yesterday, which was the two main bods at Breckland for planning turned up, that we actually can't do a lot. And providing that this goes through and satisfies the local plan and national regulations, it can't be stopped. It will just go ahead. So after hearing all that, I left the meeting feeling like it
Disfranchised.
yeah, absolutely. So it's an incredible situation. Um, I messaged Liz Truss and I left all
Mm.
the correspondence on the Abbey Action Group page, and the responses from her are just ludicrous. It's the one time in my life that I've reached out to an MP, and it was an utter waste of time.
Really? What kinds of things was she saying then?
We were just fobbed off.
Okay.
That's it. And then because of the obviously what's happening this year, we got a very nice printed letter come through the door saying she would like to get involved. Now, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to work out that it's a bid to stay relevant.
Of course it is, because the elections are coming up, aren't they?
That's it.
And I
So,
understand our head honcho at the town council is gunning for that to go against her.
well,
Allegedly. I haven't heard for definite, but I have heard rumours.
I believe so. I believe so. So, yeah, again, that's something that is not mutually exclusive with what we're doing. Um, but I'm not quite sure it aligns either. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's
So where do you think you're going to go from here then? Are you going to keep, I mean, I don't know if it's worth, like, when they start to do the work, just be a thorn in their side where you're kind of, as a community, you're stopping it from happening, as in literally stopping them from doing it, or whether that's such a difficult call, isn't it?
the problem is we've been kept in the dark with the information and what they're actually going to do because they know there's going to be a backlash.
Mm,
And it seems that the more time goes on, they've done this many times, that they've seen they know how to get around it. And we've got no choice but to fight the planning as best we can, um, and go to the papers. We've already been to the papers. It's
I saw an article actually.
it's pretty disgusting how it's all gone. But unfortunately, where you've got an entity like Breckland Council, there's not many people above them that can check them. So they kind of had their own last say, which is disgusting.
It's like the police policing the police, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's rubbish. Have you heard of the Thetford, just quickly changing it slightly, have you heard of the Thetford Sovereign Council?
Only on your YouTube channel. I'm not
Oh,
sure
right, okay.
what it does.
Okay, well, they're basically normal people. I don't like really using the word normal, but they're just everyday folk who are hell-bent at holding the council, Thetford Council, to account for what they do and say. And it's basically a place where you can go down to these meetings, and if you've got any concerns like your concern here, and you can talk to them like a council in a council meeting, and you will be heard, and then they will go away and they will look into what has been said. So it's basically a place for the Thetford public to have a voice and to be heard, and hopefully together making Thetford better.
That sounds like someone I need to talk to, I think.
And apparently you've heard of the Hubbly Bub?
No.
Which is like the new, I think it's a digital magazine, which is kind of going up against about Thetford, really.
Okay.
About everything that's going on. And I believe they do podcasts as well. And they're behind us, as in the Sovereign.
Yeah.
I think that they'd like to see things change. So hopefully, I mean, it's early days. I think last Monday was like the third meeting. So it is still young. We just need to they just need to get the public in there now to make it worthwhile. You know, it's all very well me live streaming it, but we need the public to know it's there. So it's a case of advertising it better now. But I think that's definitely a route to go down. I mean, they're not going to promise you solutions overnight. If anything, it will be more of advice, because a lot of them are well adversed in their common law stuff. Obviously, you know the difference between legal and lawful. One is consensual, the other one is law of the land. So it's a good group to associate with just for learning stuff, which you might not ordinarily pick up in every day, but no. So, yeah, I don't really know what to say about this, because I could say things, but obviously I've got to be a little bit careful. Being on the council as to what I say. So I'm trying to be as down the middle as I can.
No, that's fine. No, I understand.
But I'm with you on this. I think it's an outrage that people in these positions think that they can just walk all over people. Yeah. You know, it's 2024 and we're so far backwards, you know, to where we were in like 1984, to use the perfect date. You know, I don't know what to do other than people power and communities uniting and trying to find a way to, I don't know.
I think the Sovereign Council sounds like a good starting place, because one of the big gripes that we've got as a group is we're not being listened to.
This is it.
I think that could be the place to start talking.
Absolutely. I mean, as you may or may not know, the last council meeting in Thetford, they postponed the meeting because they didn't want people filming the questions, which is actually against the government guidelines. And so, like the Sovereign Council say, you know, you can attend the district council meetings, but you're not allowed to speak. The only place you can speak is at the town and the town council meetings, where there's no power really, but you're addressing the councillors who are both town and district councillors on that table. And I think that's why they try and shut it down. It seems weird that they're trying to shut down conversation or the filming of conversation, to be fair, when there's now suddenly a lot more people attending these meetings to ask questions.
Yeah, well, what they got to hide?
Well, this is it. This is it, you know. And
This,
so I think they need to brush up on what it is that they're actually there for
yeah, well,
and the rules that
they
they
need to
should
be,
go by.
yeah, well, they need to be transparent, 100% transparent.
Exactly.
The
My
situation
thoughts
they're in
exactly.
demands that.
It does totally. Absolutely does. But I mean, we'll stay in contact. You can keep me updated as to what's going on. Share this video when it's live. It will go out Saturday at 6 p.m.
Yep, absolutely.
Get it out there. Try and drum up as many fellow Thetfordians as you can to get behind this, because at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers.
Yep.
Which is why I'm baffled that with a 90% disdain for what's going on, they're doing it anyway. That blows my top.
The problem was they took this rather bent poll, and well, I even had my mother go onto the poll to fill it out to prove how ridiculous it was, and she lives in another town.
Right.
So they kind of made up their own numbers.
Sounds a
But
bit like the American election, doesn't it?
oh yeah, but a couple of Labour councillors went door to door, and they said it was above 90%. There was only a handful that were for it. So, given that alone, you would think that that should be enough to at least have a reconsult or something. But I was turned down for that completely by that Sam Chapman Allen. We
That's
asked
ridiculous.
we asked Flagship, and this is on their Flagship Abbey engagement page or whatever it is. There's a list of questions, and you'll see that they posted that they've denied us a ballot to actually accepting this now that we have a very small idea of what's coming. They just denied it out of hand completely. So this is being done to the residents, not with the residents.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
corruption is so rife at the moment. It's unbelievable. See, we live in a, I always say it, we live in an upside down and inverted world. The power has always been with the people. The people then go to the local councils saying, right, this is what we would like to see. Can you implement it? The local councils then go to the government and say, right, this is what the people want, implement it. That's how it should be. That's how this whole system was originally structured. But somewhere along the line, with all the globalization, I guess, and everything's now become like Thetford Town Council. It's effectively it's a business.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
The town, I can't remember what they're called now. The town clerk is effectively the CEO of that business. And so things have been twisted now. So now everyone thinks it's top down. And that's where the sovereign council are coming in, because they know and realize it's grassroots. It's bottom up politics, which is what we need.
But the problem with top down is you have the few thinking for the many.
Exactly.
And that's just not happening.
No. Definitely not. Well, look, I really appreciate you coming on. You've explained it very well. And yeah, I wish you all the best of luck. We'll keep in contact, and yeah, let's just see where this goes. But hopefully this video will help with attracting more attention to it, and let's take it from there. But for now, thank you very much.
No problem.
All the best.
Cheers.